Well, hello and welcome back to Functional Wellness with Dr. Allison. Today we are talking all things brain balance protocol because I know this is a time where we're getting back to school, we're getting back on schedules, we're having to go to bed earlier, we're having to wake up earlier, and we're getting into that time where my concern for my patients is actually their seasonal affective and how they're able to manage, prepare, and have healthy brains and guts and immune systems before going into the winter so they feel their best, as well as, the stress of school and homework and testing, and how does the entire family deal with all of this. So let's talk about everything. We're going to talk about lifestyle, movement, rehab, eye movement, supplements, oils, more, and basically give you all of my protocols. I have a free brain balance program that I typically run once a year and then update every year as well with the newest information. That's free. That link is in the description for you to find. You can join our Facebook community where we'll be going more in depth on a daily basis during September for this as well. And then all of the supplements and oils that I talk about are going to be listed down here below. So let's start with the most important things that you should focus on, not only just for you as the adult, but also for your children or you as a student, whoever you are. This is if you're dealing with long haulers or brain fog from menopause, like all of these things are still linked together, okay? So no matter where your brain is or who you are or how old you are, these things are all important. So the most important place to start with is basic wellness. And that means, number one, getting enough restorative sleep. That means getting all the lights off. Maybe you need to wear earplugs. You need to wear an eye mask. You need to keep your room cool. You need to make sure that you're going to bed at the same time every night if possible, waking up at the same time every morning if possible. When you wake up in the morning, get sunlight on your eyes, get a little bit of body movement in to get that cortisol up just a little bit and really help support your circadian rhythm throughout the whole day. Now, sleep is a complicated topic. There's like a million years I could spend podcasting about different things to try with sleep. So I know if you really struggle with that, reach out to me because there's a million different things that we can try, but you know that you need to get to sleep, right? The next most important thing for our brain health is movement and play. So normally I would say exercise, like you need to go out and exercise, but a lot of people take that to mean like, oh, I have to go work out for an hour every single day. I just don't have the time. And that's not what I'm talking about. Whether or not you get on a bike start with 5 minutes, 10 minutes, build your way up to 15, 20 minutes. Maybe you'll walk around the neighborhood. The best thing you can do is take a walk after dinner or after lunch and get some basic movement in to support those brain pathways, to increase the oxygenation and the energy and the mitochondria support that your brain so desperately needs, and finding something that's playful for you. So if you want to go for a run, or maybe you enjoy lifting weights, or you love your Zumba classes, there is something out there for you that you can do to keep it simple, to keep it fun, and to keep your movement joyful to help support your brain pathways, okay? Now, the next thing I think is really important is vagus nerve calming, resetting stress. Now, it's really easy to sit here and say, well, just go to sleep. Just get your exercise in. And you're like, oh my God, Alison, I'm exhausted. I don't have time for this. I'm so stressed out. Just don't be stressed out does not work for me. So how do we actually reduce stress? So number one, I'm a big believer in trauma-informed therapy, EMDR, getting somatic therapy, whatever that looks like for you. Having a professional to talk to is really, really important because it helps you process the events in your life from the past to present, things you're worried about in the future. This includes children as well. I'm a strong believer in getting teens into therapy because they have incredibly complex lives that we don't understand, and they need to learn communication and coping skills. So that helps us reduce stress. The other thing that helps our body physiologically reduce stress is deep breathing. So taking a breath in for a count of 4, holding for a count of 4, and as long as you can make that exhale up to 6, 7, 8, 10 counts, will help trigger that parasympathetic response to kick on to help the body reduce physiological stress, reduce that cortisol output, to help manage anxiety. The other thing I like to do for the vagus nerve is salamander exercises, which you can Google. It's basically just keeping your head straight, holding your eyes to the side, and waiting for your body to reset. And there's a lot of information about this with the polyvagal theory and the research on eye resetting and strengthening exercises. So make sure to look into that. And then gagging and gargling are also really important. And when I talk to my patients about this, they're like, oh yeah, I'm gagging like 3 times a day, but it's not making a difference. The key is that you have to be gagging or gargling until tears form in your eyes. That's how you know your vagus nerve is exercising, it's activated, it's getting the work done that it needs to. All right, next, rehab. Things like cross-crawl movements, yoga, balancing, strengthening, and this is all in my free program. So if you want to go deep into rehab, definitely check that out. Like I said, it's a free program. You can DIY it, skip to the, the videos that you want to watch. But get on YouTube, look up cross-crawl movements. If you or your baby, like mine was a walker. Like my son saw his sister walking, and at 9 months old he's like, screw crawling, I'm going to start walking, everybody else is walking. And that cross crawl pattern actually helps our brain develop. And so when we skip crawling, or we have trauma, abuse, or situations in our childhood, that can affect how our brain learns. So getting a lot of rehab back in, checking out maybe occupational therapy, physical therapy can also be really, really important. Okay. That's one of those topics that we could talk forever about. But the next one is a really, really important one as well, as far as basic wellness goes, which is food. So you might be the person who gets really hangry, like, oh my gosh, I haven't eaten. I need to go to Starbucks. I need to get my coffee. I need to get my 3 o'clock, Snickers in. And I'm just screaming at everybody by the time I get home. And then I have to help my kids do homework, and we're just yelling at each other. Like, this is a blood sugar issue. Our brain needs fuel, whether it comes in the form of carbs, fat, or protein. We need to increase our healthy fats, our healthy proteins. And the real key that I found, especially for me, is to eat before you start feeling the anxiety, the panic, the fatigue. If you know at 10 a.m., you're going to start having hot flashes and you get really anxious at work and you start sweating, this is the time you need to eat. This is really, really, really important. You need to eat multiple meals throughout the day. You most likely need to start eating breakfast. Stop skipping breakfast and just having coffee and coffee creamer. We need to have fuel in our body for our brain to function. And a lot of people just skip over that because it's too much work or it's too difficult with the family and the kids. So really focus on things that maybe you can pre-make. One of my favorite things to do is just to make one of my big protein shakes and have that in a big mason jar so that way the kids can take it out, overnight oats, things like that. They can just grab it and go and either eat in the car on the way to school or have it for lunch. You can do that for yourself as well. With food, the next thing I'm going to ask you to do is cut out gluten because it cross-reacts with the brain. It can cross-react not only with the thyroid, which can lead to Hashimoto's, but also the cerebellum, other parts of the brain. So if you're really struggling with brain fog and you're not getting anywhere, get rid of the gluten. It's going to make a huge difference for you as well. The other thing I feel like I would be really remiss if I didn't touch on this really quickly is infections are also a major part of our brain health. So whether it's COVID, long haulers, strep, Lyme, there's all kinds of things that can affect our brain. And I think this is the beauty and the difficulty with functional medicine is, okay, you have brain fog. Well, it could be testosterone and estrogen. It could be heavy metals and toxins. It could be mold. It could be, you need more exercise. It could be a very serious thing. It could be like we could think of a million things that could be causing your brain fog. So this is why we start with the most basics and move our way down this list before we just take a million supplements and just guess and go, oh, it's probably a serotonin issue. So coming into serotonin and neurotransmitters, and I want to talk to you real quick about supplements. So in the link below, I have the kids version listed here, which is all sprays because it's easier than trying to get a kid to take a pill or chew something up. But adults can use this as well. So these are the things that I keep on our kitchen table. The basket just gets passed around. And what it has in there is supplements that help the brain make its own serotonin, dopamine, and GABA. So that's GABA flow, dopa flow, and serotonin flow. Now we think, and I'm sure you've heard this as well, like, oh, the gut makes 70 to 80 to 90% of your serotonin. And if you don't have a good, healthy gut, your brain's not going to be functioning. And in a lot of ways, that's true. However, our brain makes its own serotonin and GABA, and our gut makes its very own separate serotonin and GABA. So we need the precursors for our brain. If you just take GABA, you're not doing anything for your brain because it doesn't pass through that blood-brain barrier. You really need to give yourself healthy blood sugar, healthy levels of protein, good insulin levels. Make sure you're not iron deficient, all of those things, and then give yourself those precursors so your brain can get the support that it needs. The other two things that I have on here is called Safro Calm Plus. So the saffron has been widely studied on specifically children as far as ADHD, attentiveness, hyperactivity, and I find that just one spray underneath the tongue before we start doing homework, before, like, I brought it on the drive to Florida so that way when we're driving we can focus and concentrate. My husband, if he gets really overwhelmed with like a lot of tasks that he has to do or like a lot of phone calls, he'll make sure like he takes that because it helps not only calm emotions but helps the brain reorganize and focus, and just brings that sense of overall well-being. And saffron's amazing. You might have heard of it. You might have seen a lot of other companies that are selling it. It doesn't have to be very expensive, and this spray isn't either. And then the other thing that I like to use in general is a zeolite spray because it helps with detoxification. It has binders to help remove toxins as well. And this is safe for everybody to use. It's very gentle, but it's going to pull out anything that might be affecting you, especially things like aluminum, cadmium, and mercury that directly get into the brain and affect us. And with those binders, it also helps the gut, so it's going to help seal that up. I would love to talk about the gut forever here as well and how that affects the brain, but maybe we'll do that for our next podcast because you know I like to keep these short. And then the last thing that I have on here is the essential oils that we like to use. Now, frankincense, copaiba, sandalwood, rosemary, lavender, all of these things are amazing. What I did put down in the description for you is the kids' oil collection. So now this one is made for little ones in mind. There's 10 different oils in there, and this is what I also have right now on our counter, and I have them all out because we're homeschooling right now. And there's the different oils that help with focus, with communication, with calming, with emotions, with digestion, with pain, with headaches, with all of these things. And I love their names. So Thinker, Calmer, Stronger, Tamer, Rescuer, Steady, and Brave. They come with silicone toppers so you can attach it to your backpack or your purse if you're out running around, and a carrying case as well. So I like to just roll these on our wrists before we get started. I usually have my kids pick out one or two that they like, roll it on behind their ears so it's close to their brainstem, the back of their neck, or their feet, whatever you choose to do. And that just helps kind of set the mood and the tone for the day of we're going to be focused, we're going to be healthy, we can get through this day, I have the support that we need, And the other two things that I threw in there also include the A to Z multivitamin chewable, because the more nutrition we can get in our kids, the better, right? Like mine just wants to eat mac and cheese all day, but got to do better with that. And then the IQ Mega, which are the good, healthy fats for the brain to help it focus and function, improve hormones as well. So adults can use these, kids can use these, kind of like the whole family brain health support that you need. So a lot of information here, so make sure to check out the description that will help you get to all of these links. If you want personalized care and you want to dive deeper into your health or figure out how you're feeling and why you're feeling that way, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can schedule online with me at littleblackbagmedicine.com and get your paperwork filled out. You'll get a plan with lifestyle and wellness and all the support you need in one package together. So thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to Functional Wellness with Dr. Allison. If you would like personalized care and testing, you can schedule an initial consult online and get started with your wellness plan right away, or message us on Facebook at Little Black Bag Medicine. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next week.